All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to Midwestern Career College Campus Connections. Today, we're at a new location recording at our Evergreen campus. As usual, you can follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, and Amazon Music. And you can email us at podcast@mcccollege.edu. And we are lucky to have as our co host today Monica Loayza. How are you, Monica?
Hi, Gio. I'm really good. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you feeling? I know you were a little bit under the weather. How's that going?
Yeah, pretty feeling positive today and hoping for this new next episode. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, so we had your very successful episode, and obviously you wanted to continue, and now you're a co-host. So it's wonderful to have you. Looking forward to our conversation.
Thank you for the invitation.
And with us as our guest for today's episode is Jennifer Green, campus manager for Evergreen. Is that correct? Is it?
Yes, I am the academic
Manager.
Yes.
How are you?
I am wonderful. How are you today?
Wonderful. Welcome, and thank you for hosting us at your wonderful campus.
Thank you.
Now, the Evergreen campus has pretty interesting history because it's pretty new. We were at a different campus before,
Yes, we were in Blue Island.
Blue Island campus. How was that?
Blue Island was very small. It was 2 rooms. We had 2 programs. We've since moved over here into a much more beautiful campus. And now, instead of 2 programs, we have 5.
5 programs. How was the transition from Blue Island to Evergreen Park?
It was interesting. The transition was interesting. I kind of spearheaded helping them move over here, and it wasn't bad, but it was real interesting. We were real excited when we got here. Yeah.
Yeah, and it shows how obviously as a college we've grown because the Blue Island obviously was the first location, and it was pretty interesting. But I think it shows our ability to be able to grow and move into a much better space where we're at now at Evergreen Park.
Yes, it does. It is because I started there and Blue Island came over here. And once we got here and started expanding the programs, and we're still looking to expand. So it's real interesting. And I'm looking forward to expanding further and picking up more programs.
Now, we've been at Evergreen Park how long now?
This is year 4. We came in 2020.
And it seems like we have outgrown our space now, correct?
Yes. We are in the midst of, outgrowing. Our program has increased. The student population has increased. When we first came here, we had maybe about 80 students that came over. We're now roughly near about 300 students here on campus. So we've tripled our size from where we were.
That's awesome. And I think that speaks volumes about your ability to manage the campus and our abilities as a college to be able to bring in students, be in a much better space, and continue to grow. Because I think we're hopefully looking at other options to increase not only programs, but our facility space as well.
I'm looking forward to that.
Definitely.
Now, Jennifer, you are from Chicago.
Yes.
And you're also from the South Side, correct?
Yes.
Where in the South Side did you grow up?
In Maple Park. Maple Park is around 100 I grew up on 116th and Elizabeth. So it's in that area near Pullman Park, Morgan Park. But we were a community in Maple Park of new homeowners that they put there. So, yeah.
How has that worked out?
It's wonderful. It's wonderful. We are actually, the community still has some of the founding members in the community, all of our parents who are there. And then what happens is once the parents, they leave us, then the children stay in their homes. So it's still a close-knit community that we still have there.
And how has the community changed since that started?
Changing, I won't say it's been all good. There has been some different elements that are there,
Yeah.
but for the most part, the change hasn't changed much. It's still a community. It's still a family community. Just like next week, we have a block club party, and the whole entire community, even people that have moved away, are coming back. So we still have that close relationship with everybody.
Nice. What high school did you go to?
I went to St. Willibroad. It's in Roseland.
How was that?
I loved it. I loved it. I still have my friends from. I'm not gonna age myself, but I actually still have the same friends that I had when I went to high school, and it was very small Catholic school. So yet again, a close knit family.
Yeah, I was the proud product of Chicago Public Schools.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was lucky enough to go to Schurz High School,
Oh, okay.
Northwest Side, Milwaukee, and Addison.
Okay.
And, it's funny because I just had this conversation with my family because I have, my daughter's it's actually started high school a couple days ago. My niece also started high school, so my niece and my daughter are the same age. And we have another one, my cousin's daughter, who's a senior. So we're talking about high school and experiences. And I said, when I went to high school, I was exposed to drugs, gangs, poor education. And I said, don't take that for granted that, your parents and myself, I was talking to my family, had to go through this to provide you with a better opportunity, because now my niece is going to Evanston Township High School.
Okay.
My daughter's going to Fremd High School out in Palatine. So I'm like, nobody drove me to school. Nobody, no bus took me to school. No school bus took me to school. I mean, I had to take public transportation, CTA,
Wow.
to get to school. So I'm like, don't take that for granted that times have changed. You have different opportunities. And one of my cousin's daughter could potentially go to Schurz, and obviously they don't want it. I think she wants to go there because some of her friends want to go there. We're like, maybe you should think about it, because like you said, things haven't changed much. CPS, as much as they want to get better, it really hasn't changed. So it saddens me, and I do have family who work within CPS, so I get the insight as to what's going on with CPS.
Mm-hmm.
And it saddens me that we're in a very large city with a lot of funds, and education just cannot seem to improve. Public education, that is, cannot seem to improve. So, and obviously that's the topic now with standardized testing.
Yeah.
That is a little crazy topic.
Yeah, that school system, I'm battling that myself now, because because we live in a district, we have district schools that we have to go to. So his high school, that will remain unnamed, that we have to go to, I don't want to send them there, but then you have to look at what's your alternative. And that's the only thing that concerns me. Just like the 7th and 8th grade, I had concerns about that, but I'm okay. I got okay with it. Once he got in there, I was like, okay, it's okay. I said, maybe I might feel that way about the high school, because he's 13. He is in 8th grade. So everything we look for now is geared towards high school.
Yeah.
So it's either put him in a school outside a district, in a charter school, or stay within district. So big decisions. Families like, move to Texas. No, I'm not moving.
I mean, there are opportunities. Obviously, you have to make the most out of what's given to you, but it is a challenge, right? So anyway, one of the interesting things that I felt about your story is that the college you went to. Speak a little bit about that.
Which one?
I
went to a couple of them.
Virginia
Union University. Yes, it is a HBCU that's in Richmond, Virginia. That's the very first college that I went to, and it was founded in 1865. And it was one of the stops. The very first building that we had was one of the stops in the Underground Railroad. So they started and they built the school. And it's been going ever since.
Now, HBCU, right? Historically Black
College and university.
colleges and universities. And explain what the Underground Railroad was.
The Underground Railroad was where slaves had a stop. So it was a slave stop when they were transporting them to freedom. And that was one of the buildings that was in the basement of the building, was one of the stops that they had there. And the building is still there.
Wow.
They've updated it some, but mainly the main building is still there. A lot of the old buildings it's a lot of history in the buildings. There are different areas. All they do, they go in and they restore them. So majority of the buildings that we have, some are new, but there are still main structures that are there.
Yeah, and I know we don't talk too much about controversial topics here, but it's I feel it's important. In college, I mentioned to you that in college I did a report on Harriet Tubman, who was obviously on the Underground Railroad, and it's important for people to really know that history. I mean, I don't know why there's anything wrong with that.
History is important. It is very important to know and understand where things start, where things happen, and to know, because people can hide history, but you kind of got to know history and know different pieces of it, because it's important for us to know it. You know, it's important for us to know how things started, where they came from. That's why I was proud that I went to the school. I was like, yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. And I go back every year. I'm looking forward to it. In 2 months, I'm on my way back.
What did you study there? Or did you start studying there?
I started studying business administration. So when I first came out, I know you go, you're a teacher. Yeah, this wasn't my road. This wasn't the journey that I was taking originally. Business was my journey. And I said, okay, I like business. I like math a little bit. So let's go into that. And that's where I started there.
Wow.
How?
I'm shocked because, we know each other from work.
Yes.
First of all, I didn't know you have a son.
Yes.
And second of all, I totally agree with you that you need to know your history. And I believe all that background that you have created, you're able now to project and tell that to your students. Makes me really connected with that feeling, because at the end of the day, we become that person who is going to teach them. And I've had a different start too in business as well before psychology, but our path kind of like similar in that way, even though I come from a different country, a different culture.
You started in business, and what happened?
Well, I stayed in business. I came home. I didn't finish there. So it's a university for a year. I came home after 2 years. And when I came home, I said, well, one thing, when you leave, you'll say, I'm leaving my parents' house and I'm never coming back. I'm 18, who knows, I had to go back. I went back for 1 year and I said, you know what? Time for me to get it together. My mom said, come work, because she worked at the University of Chicago. She said, I got a job for you. I said, okay, Mom, okay, I see you. I started pushing a little cart around the University of Chicago, and that started a medical career for me. And I was like, oh, I kind of like medicine. So I went from there to pushing this little cart around the hospital, wiping down equipment, to being a unit secretary, working multiple jobs there. Once I got in there, I said, I want to take this a little further. I became an EMT. So that started my lifelong journey being in medicine. And from there, it's a whole bunch of stuff.
And I think that's important for students to understand that it's not always, a straight line to where you want to get to. I myself started at UIC because I wanted to be a computer engineer, and I took a lot of math, science, computer work, and then realized that that's not what I wanted to do. Well, not only that, but I think much like you, life happens. And when you're not ready, because I was not ready for college, the freedom that I had, I I dropped out because of grades. No, I didn't drop out. I was kicked out because of my grades. And I went to Oakland Community College. I think I talked about it in a different episode. And that's really where I found myself. What do I want to do? Where do I want to take this? And that's how it took me longer to get my degree. I think by the time I finished my bachelor's, I had already 5 or 6 years of education. So, yeah, I mean, I have enough education to be a doctor, and I don't have a doctorate degree, not yet anyway. So I think it's important for students to understand that it's not a straight line. It's not easy, and you have us as examples.
Right.
Monica, you started in something different, and then you came to the United States, and you started doing something different, right? You started. You were doing student work first. Did you start as student work, or did you start straight away as a?
Well, here I did start as an administrative assistant, but I want to highlight how you mentioned we have different starts, and for our students, definitely we need to they need to understand that sometimes they have this idea of like, oh, my time, I'm already getting like old, or like I'm not getting my grades and things like that. And I think the system pressured us a little bit on that.
It is true.
But I think each individual has their own journey. And I think that's the main highlight of all this. I definitely understand the backgrounds of, we have different education.
Yeah.
But there's always a point where we want to be that person who it's proud of what all the experiences we've had. So it's definitely a self journey. We need to be proud and respect our times too. It doesn't matter. No need to compare to others either.
And I think that's what makes institutions like ours so important, because not everyone is cut out to be in a 4-year institution.
Correct.
Whether it's financial or grades or whatever it is, just program wise.
Yeah.
These type of institutions, our institution caters to that. Talk a little bit about the programs that we have here that make a difference for students.
The programs, and as you said, just to piggyback with that, to tell my story is I love these programs because they're tailored to meet anybody's need at any given time in their journey. Because I went to college straight out of high school, but as you said, I came home 2 years later. I didn't get my bachelor's till I was in my 40s. I didn't get my master's until I was late in my 40s, closer to after that. Heck, I didn't have my first kid till I was 42. So I tell everybody it's never too late and you're never too old to get into our programs. And the medical field, we have medical assistants. It's never too late to start a journey. I've interviewed a lot of students and they tell me, well, I'm more seasoned. And I said, I understand, and yes, you will be a mixture of people. You have coming out of high school, you have people who are deciding later in life, I want a new journey.
Right.
So we have a lot of students that are like that are doing later journeys. So we have medical assistants that are done that. We have dialysis. Well, we did have dialysis. We no longer have that program, but we have the dental technician program. It's a diversity that's in there. You have different ranges, different ages. Here we have surge tech and sterile processing. So you have a lot of different people from all walks of life coming in at different times in their journey to do something new. So it's not just we all have high school students. Because you may not want to do high school. As you said, you got kicked out of school. I didn't mention I did, but I left before I got kicked out because I could not make it to the 8 o'clock class. So I'm like, no, that's not for me, no.
Right.
So I said, let me just go home and I'll be okay. And I miss my mommy, So It was later I started working and I was working. Then I said, I need education. And I need to go into a program that will suit my educational needs. So I'm like, okay, I'll do this. Medical assistant. I became a medical assistant. I became a whole bunch of different things after that. But this field in our programs allow for students at any walk of life to come in and get that fresh start. It doesn't 4-year universities is a long time. And as we say, we're here for a short time, not a long time. So it works for them and it works for the program, and they have choices.
I like that a lot. I like that a lot. Definitely. It's like a new start. Not doesn't matter what happened in the past, but you always have a new start and opportunity. And I agree with you. MCC tailored the program in a way that I've seen the transition of our students, different ages, different backgrounds, histories, but they all have the same reason. They want to be better. They want to have a career. They want to have that passion, and that's what we transmit with them to them.
Yeah, I mean, we all go through our time where we have to find ourselves, and explore what it is that's going to work for us. I mean, I talk to my parents all the time that I've done so many jobs, and I've had so many experiences that I can really go anywhere. You have similar experiences because you've done a little bit of everything, including taxes, which you still do, right?
Yes, I'm a tax consultant also.
Wow.
Yes, and that I've been doing it consistently ever since I went into medicine. I started in '89 doing taxes.
Yeah.
And I'm still doing it. I started medicine in '89, and I've been going ever since with both of them. I always say, my favorite saying, I could save your life and make your money at the same time.
There you go. It's perfect. You should trademark that.
Yes. Sure.
So, we all have experiences that we can bring to the table at any point. I started, like you, when I was in college. I was working, I think it was Mount Sinai Hospital, in the pharmacy. Like you, pushing a cart, delivering IVs to the different departments. That's what I did in college.
Cool.
I think you studied at National Louis, correct?
Yes, I got my bachelor's at National Louis.
I worked 5 years at National Louis.
We may have crossed paths.
Maybe.
And didn't even know it.
Yeah, I've been all over the place. So, anyway, what are some of the other? What is your message to students who want to look into medical? Because you didn't necessarily start into medical; you just happened to run into medical. What would be a message for the students to bring them to our programs?
To our programs, to come here. Our programs give you and encourage you to have a sense of belonging and a sense of accomplishment within our programs. Because we're not a big university that has 50 students in each class and you're just a number in that class, we are more hands-on with the student. When I interview a student, I tell them, you're coming to my campus and I'm taking responsibility for you. And I like to kid with them and joke and say, I'm taking ownership of you. I am taking ownership in your career because you're going to invest your time with me. So I have to invest my time with you. You have expressed that you want a career. So I have to make sure we here at MCC do everything within our power to make sure you get that career. Even if it means stalking you and going, hey, why are you not here? Hey, why are you not doing your homework? Hey, if you need to cry, come on, I got an open door for you. So especially with my campus, and I say mine, and I love it. I could take ownership of Evergreen Park. I always tell them, you are mine from the moment you come in till you leave. I am going to make sure that you accomplish your goal. I have students one student in particular, she came in, she was like, Ms. Green, I've taken a program 3 times and I've never finished a program. And I said, okay, I got you. I got you. You're going to finish this program. She was like, okay, I'm going to trust you. I said, trust me, you're going to finish. Several months into the program, she had a death in the family. And she just came to me and she said, Ms. Green, I'm done. I can't do this no more. I said, nah, you're not done. I said, take a moment, get yourself in order. I said, I'll see you next week. And she's like, nah, Ms. Green. I said, okay, 2 weeks. I'll see you in 2 weeks. She was like, okay. I called her every day. I said, how we doing? She was like, okay. She came back. And I was so proud. She walked across that stage and she said, and she told her family, she's like, this her right here. This that lady that got me across the stage. Without her, I never would have made it. And I felt good with that. And that's why I teach and do what I do. And that's what you get when you come to MCC. Somebody that cares. And a lot of people don't have that structure at home. They don't have a support system. So we here at MCC become their support system and help them to achieve what they need. So I think that's what makes us different than a lot of places, because we invest ourselves into them.
You're so right. I like that. Our students have so many stories to tell. And I remember when you talk about this particular student, I want to ask you, what was that first feeling of meeting them in graduation too? And then you saw her getting the certificate, and then you remember all her journey. What was the first feeling you as a mom, let's call it that way, in that moment that you played that role for her?
As a mother, these are all my babies. These are all my babies because, like I said, I invest in them. I see them more than their family do sometimes. So I invest time with them, and it felt so good. It's a good, that's why I do what I do, because I feel good when I see people out there. And then it feels better when you have a student that you ain't seen in years be yelling, "Hey, Miss Green, hey." And I'm like, okay, who is that? She was like, "I know you. You were my teacher." Oh, hey. And I see my students and they're in their careers and they're doing stuff. And I go, I had something to do with that. Yeah. You are positive in your life, and I made a positive impact on you. So I think that's what even being a teacher is, and that good feeling you get is being that positive impact to somebody.
Right.
Yeah, it makes you feel good.
Yeah, and I've spoken about the differences of being in a large college, large university versus a smaller one. And I got to say, based on my experiences, because I've been, very huge university, UIC, and I don't have positive experiences from UIC. The professors that I remember, they're all negative experiences.
Oh, no.
So, and that's probably one of the reasons why I flunked out. When I went to a smaller institution, and I remember all my instructors, it was way different, right? And I've spoken a little bit about how when you get to a smaller institution, you get that one-on-one treatment. The resources are a little bit more available to you because it's smaller and everybody knows what's going on, versus an institution that has 50, 60,000 students where you kind of just have to fend for yourself and figure it out.
Right.
And this is something that we talked about, Monica, with the episode that we did, that, part of people coming here is that they get a one-on-one experience with career services, like what you do and what you go through your resources with them a little bit more one-on-one.
Yeah, that's true. And I definitely agree with you. And everything is structured in a way with this personalized service and, help and resources that we provide. We are preparing the future professionals, which is pretty much my job. So I want to make sure these future professionals feel the support, have the extra support. If they're struggling, challenges come, they're also going to show that in their careers and their workplace. So I believe our job, it's our responsibility to provide information academically, but also that professionalism skills and, motivate them, because we can teach a lot of academics, but we cannot teach attitude.
Right.
And that's the role of a teacher. That's the role of a counselor. That's the role of a staff person member at MCC. We need to understand that, and the way we connect with them, it would reflect the future professional in the long run. And it speaks of the quality of professionals we're providing and we're forming. So as you mentioned, in big colleges, big universities, you become a number. You probably receive, a good academic profession, but it's always in this small details and the personal orientation information that you're going to highlight especially in professional life as well.
Yeah, and you spoke about, and I've said it as well, and again, I'll say it again. This is the reason why we do this podcast, because it's about getting to know not only the student and the student experience, but the people that make MCC, function on a daily basis, and that's a lot of the instructors, managers, program directors, and again, it speaks volumes to the type of professional that it's at MCC. So, speaking of that, how did you get to MCC?
How did I get to MCC? Dr. Meir. I came from
Dr. Meir does which program?
Dr. Meir is our lead instructor in the medical assistant program, and he's at the LaSalle campus.
Right.
And I have worked with Dr. Meir at other institutions, and he called me. He said, "Miss Green, I need you." I said, "Oh." And it was also someone else who worked with us, also Maria. I can't remember Maria's name, but Maria, both of them started calling me, and I'm like, "Okay, we have a school over here, and we need you to come on over here and teach with us." And I said, "Oh, okay." I came in, I interviewed, and I was like, "Oh," and it was right around the corner from my house, so it was perfect. I was like, "Okay," and Dr. Meir was funny because he was trying to get me down at LaSalle, and I said, "I don't think I want to go down there."
Right, it's a different.
Yes, it's a big difference going
Different
because
environment,
I worked at Westwood, and Westwood is where I was with Dr. Meir, and I don't like going downtown really. And he said, "Well, we have a campus on the south side," and I said, "Oh, okay," and it's history from there. I'm still here. Yeah.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
How long has that been?
I came in 2017.
A lifetime for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was 2017.
And what does the future hold for MCC programs at Evergreen Park?
The future. What would I like to see?
Sure, why not?
I would like to see us move into our own building that can house about 20 different programs.
Wow.
I have in my head, I have about 4 programs already now. And if we can because we're here and we're comfortable, but for growth of MCC, move into a big, beautiful building, have 20 more programs, increase my student population. I have about maybe about 1,000 to 1,500 students on campus. Not too big, because then if we go too big, then we lose that hands-on and we lose that intimate setting in the classrooms. So just adding more programs to add more student population to those programs.
Nice. And to finish up, we'll speak a little bit about you. Now you have a son
Yes.
who plays baseball.
Yes.
You're into that quite a bit now, the baseball.
I am. I'm that mother.
Yeah. Well, just like a soccer mom or a hockey mom.
Yes, I am the
Baseball mom.
baseball mom. It's so much so that I'm into baseball that I'm the secretary of the league. I am one of the executive board members in the league. So I invested a lot of my time into where he is so I can make sure he has a positive outcome. So, yeah.
How do you guys participate in Little League or
Yes.
yeah?
Yes.
That's going on now, no? Little League?
We are in Dalton Riverdale Little League, and we're year round. We just finished normal season. We're about to head into fall ball, and then we have winter camp, and then it starts all over again, and it just keeps going.
I have one of my cousins who is really involved in that as well with his son, and they do. I think they does travel baseball and all that stuff.
Yes, we're going to get into travel ball next, and yeah.
Little League World Series. Do you guys participate in that? How does that work?
We didn't see, everything is zoned and they stay in zones. We go to tournaments, but we haven't been a part of that tournament because the biggest ones, you have Babe Ruth and then you have Jackie Robinson out this way. So we're in Little League International. So we do tournaments, but World Series things, we haven't gone to those. Yeah.
Wow. You have a lot of in your agenda. How do you keep that balance?
Same thing I teach my students. You have to prioritize. You have to keep a calendar, and you have to make sure. I think if you just wave your hands, You may have to walk over there. There
There we go.
All right. I was about to say, well, what was I telling the story about?
We have visitors here.
I know, right? It's like, we're here. You have to keep an agenda. You have to make sure you set everything. And I live by time frames, and I do. And I'm not going to say I'm strict, because I'm the worst procrastinator ever. I am the worst procrastinator. But you have to have a plan. You have to plan it. You have to work it. I guess that's why all my friends make me the planners. And I plan vacations. I plan whatever we're doing. Everybody wants me to plan it, because they know I'm going to plan it to a T. This is what we have to do. Here's our time frame. We got to be here. This is where I'm at. And it's, you have to. You got to. That's the only way I can make sure I do everything. Oh, it's a whole bunch more. A whole bunch more after this. Yeah. That's just a tip of what I do.
Right.
Yeah.
You also have a daughter, no?
I do. I have a bonus daughter. Yes. I was previously married, but I'm single now. And out of that marriage, I got a bonus daughter, and I have 3 bonus granddaughters.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
Yes. And I love them. I kept her. I said, she's mine. All of them are mine. My daughter, I don't know how old she is. I think she's about 27, I think.
Oh, great.
I have an older
Shows the
daughter.
love.
Yes, and my granddaughters are 12, 10, and I think one is 9. I don't know. They're getting old. I can't remember. But yes, I keep them all. I have a very big extended family.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure they're really proud of you.
Yes.
Because when you talk, you sound so passionate and so like complete in your role.
Mm-hmm.
And I do want to know, and I mean, when I come here, you can feel that. It's a way that you project, and it's the way you just handle your students and the campus and everything. So it's always a welcoming vibe and a very nice ambience to be here. So I'm definitely, that also shows in your personal life.
Thank you. Yes. I can say I am a product of my mother and father. Mm-hmm. My mother and father were known to take in everybody, to welcome everybody. Mm-hmm. And I can honestly say I did take that. I did take it from them, do for everybody, welcome everybody. But hey, being sad and just down, it don't work. It don't work.
I agree with that.
Wonderful. So as we wrap up, any final thoughts, words you like to say, offer?
Final words and final thoughts. If you're out there listening and you want a career, not just a job, but you want a career and you want to be trained in that career, MCC is the place where you will get it. We will make sure that you get all that you need and to go out there and get that new career or to further your career. Come to Evergreen Park campus. No.
Wait for you.
Right.
No, that's very,
I say you could go to the other campuses, but Evergreen Park, yeah. I love my campus. We have ice cream socials. We have party. I always tell my students, I like to party as hard as you work. If you work hard for me, I'm going to make sure you enjoy waking up that morning and going, I'm going to school. Yeah. I don't want you saying, oh man, I got to go to class. I want you to enjoy it. You know, you have to enjoy what you do.
well, that's exactly your point about going to somewhere where you're going to be comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
And I just go back to when I decided to finish my degree at Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville, which is a smaller campus from Southern Illinois University, Carbondale.
Mm-hmm.
It just made that difference to me.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I was able to finish right away. I liked it. I liked my instructors, the program, very fond memories of where I went. And whereas UIC is just this black hole that it's always going to be there. It was just part of my experience. But
Yeah.
anything you like to say before we end?
Sure. I mean, happy to always talk anew with this new experiences and get to know our co-workers at MCC as well. Welcoming the new students. And if you're out there, for sure, remember we are here for you to support you, shift up your career, and become that leader also that you would see improving your life and your family and making a big impact in others. So thank you for inviting me.
It's been a great conversation. Thank you for taking the time to invite us to Evergreen and to tell your story, which is a wonderful story about who you are, what you've achieved, what you do here at Midwestern Career College Evergreen campus. So I think listeners will enjoy your story. So as we wrap up, I'd like to thank our co-host Monica for being here and Jennifer Green for being the special guest for today. I'd like to remind everyone to be on the lookout for the video on YouTube and the audio files on Spotify, Amazon Music, and Apple Music. And if you have any comments, you can also comment on those sites, or you can email us at podcast@mcccollege.edu. Thank you, and we'll talk to you next time. Thank you, Jennifer and Monica.
Thank you.